My lawyer strictly advised me against publishing this. He warned me that if I disclosed the actual address or the real names of the people involved, the real estate investment firm that currently owns the property could ruin me with a defamation lawsuit. They are desperate to sell that house, and my story would ensure it sits empty forever. So, to protect myself from legal trouble, I've changed the specifics. I'm using a pseudonym for my wife and myself. Let's say this happened in a fictional, perpetually rainy logging town called Oak Haven in the deep pine forests of Oregon. And let's call the house 812 Blackwood Lane. The names and the address might be fake, but I swear to you on my life, every single event I am about to describe is absolutely real. My name is David, and my wife is Emma. We moved into the house on Blackwood Lane in October of 2021. It was a beautiful, isolated property, a two-story Victorian-style farmhouse built in the late 1930s, sitting on 4 acres of dense, overgrown Oregon timberland. The nearest neighbor was a mile down a winding dirt road. For a young couple looking to escape the suffocating noise of Seattle, it was a dream come true. We had a rescue cat named Luna, a tortoiseshell who usually loved exploring. But from the moment we carried her carrier through the front door of that house, she was entirely paralyzed by fear. She refused to leave the master bedroom on the 2nd floor. If we tried to carry her down the stairs, she would hiss, scratch our arms, and bolt back under the bed. We thought she was just adjusting to the new environment. We had no idea her survival instincts were trying to warn us. The first month was mundane. We painted the walls, replaced the old plumbing, and enjoyed the quiet. I worked as an emergency room nurse, which meant I often worked grueling 12-hour night shifts. Emma, a freelance graphic designer, worked from home. The nightmare began subtly in the 2nd week of November. It was a Tuesday. I had left for my night shift around 6 p.m. Around 9:30 p.m., Emma was in her home office on the ground floor, wearing noise-canceling headphones and working on a project. Through the music, she heard a faint, distinct sound. Knock, knock, knock. It was coming from the large glass sliding door in the living room that led out to the pitch-black backyard. Emma took off her headphones. The house was dead silent, save for the steady drum of the Oregon rain against the roof. Thinking it was just a branch hitting the glass, she walked into the living room. The motion sensor security light in the backyard hadn't turned on. The yard was a wall of absolute darkness. As she stood peering out into the black glass, her phone vibrated in her pocket. It was a text from me. "Hey, I forgot my ID badge in the kitchen. I'm outside the back door. It's locked. Let me in." Emma smiled, shaking her head at my forgetfulness. She walked up to the glass door, reached for the lock, and was about to slide it open. But then, she stopped. Something didn't make sense. If I was standing right outside the glass door, why hadn't the motion sensor floodlight turned on? And more importantly, the backyard was entirely enclosed by a 6-foot wooden fence. The only way to the back door was through the side gate, which we kept padlocked from the inside. A cold spike of adrenaline hit her chest. She stepped back from the glass. "David," she called out softly. From the other side of the pitch-black glass, my voice replied, "Emma, open the door. It's freezing out here. Let me in." The voice was mine. The pitch, the tone, the slight Pacific Northwest drawl. It was perfectly me, but it sounded hollow. It lacked the natural rhythm of breathing. Emma backed away slowly, her hands trembling. She pulled out her phone and called my number. The phone rang twice before I picked up. "Hey babe, everything okay?" I asked. In the background, she could hear the chaotic, unmistakable sounds of the hospital ER, monitors beeping, nurses talking over the intercom. "David," Emma whispered, tears instantly spilling down her cheeks. "Where are you?" "I'm at the hospital. I've been here for 3 hours. Why? You sound terrified." Emma dropped the phone. She didn't hang up. She just stared at the glass door. From the outside darkness, my voice spoke again, louder this time, perfectly clear through the thick glass. "Who are you talking to on the phone, Emma? I am right here. Open the door." Emma ran. She sprinted up the stairs, locked herself in the master bedroom with Luna, and barricaded the door with a dresser. She stayed on the phone with me until I raced home with a police officer. When we searched the property, we found nothing. No footprints in the mud. The side gate was still padlocked. The motion sensor on the floodlight worked perfectly when the officer walked past it. The police chalked it up to a prank, or a drifter, or Emma's imagination. But I saw the absolute terror in my wife's eyes. I knew she hadn't imagined it. After that night, the atmosphere in the house shifted. It felt like we were living at the bottom of the ocean. The air was thick, suffocating, and heavy with unseen observation. We installed heavy deadbolts, security cameras, and window alarms. But the terror didn't come from outside anymore. It had already gotten inside. By December, the auditory mimicry became a daily occurrence. If I was in the shower, I would hear Emma's voice right outside the bathroom curtain, whispering my name. When I pulled the curtain back, the room would be empty, and Emma would be downstairs. If Emma was cooking in the kitchen, she would hear my heavy footsteps walking around in the attic, right above her head, even when I was sitting right next to her at the dining table. Whatever this thing was, it was learning us. It was studying our routines, mapping our voices, and testing our psychological limits. It wanted us confused. It wanted us vulnerable. The climax of our nightmare occurred on Christmas Eve. A severe winter storm had knocked out the power lines across Oakhaven County. The house was completely dark, heated only by the fireplace in the living room. Emma and I decided to camp out on the living room floor. We dragged our mattress downstairs, lit dozens of candles, and tried to make the best of a terrifying situation. Luna the cat was curled up tightly between my legs, refusing to close her eyes. Around 2 a.m., the fire had died down to glowing embers. The house was freezing. I was jolted awake by the sound of the wooden staircase creaking. Creak. I held my breath, my eyes wide open in the dark. Creak. Someone was walking down the stairs from the second floor. The footsteps were heavy, slow, and deliberate. I reached over to wake Emma, but my hand hit an empty space. Emma wasn't on the mattress. Panic seized my throat. I sat up quickly, grabbing the heavy iron fire poker from the hearth. "Emma?" I whispered into the dark. From the top of the dark staircase, Emma's voice replied, "I'm up here, David. I heard a noise in the bedroom. Come help me." I stood up, gripping the iron poker. I walked toward the base of the stairs. The darkness at the top of the landing was absolute. "Emma, come down here right now," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I can't." Her voice echoed down the stairwell. It sounded distressed, crying. "My leg is hurt. Please, David, come up here." I put my foot on the first step. I was about to walk up into the darkness when I felt something brush against my ankle. I looked down. It was Luna. Her back was arched, her fur was standing straight up, and she was hissing violently. But she wasn't looking up the stairs. She was looking toward the kitchen, behind me. "David?" A tiny, trembling voice whispered. I spun around. Standing in the doorway of the kitchen, holding a flickering candle, was Emma. She was pale, shaking, and holding a kitchen knife. "Who are you talking to?" Emma cried softly, looking at me. My blood turned to ice. Emma was in the kitchen. I slowly turned my head back to the dark staircase. For 10 seconds, there was dead silence in the house. The entity at the top of the stairs realized it had been caught. Then, the voice from the top of the stairs spoke again. But this time, it wasn't Emma's voice anymore. It was a chorus of voices. It sounded like 5 different people. Men, women, and a child, all speaking in perfect, terrifying unison. "You should have come upstairs, David." The heavy footsteps suddenly turned into a frantic, violent stampede. Thud, 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 thud. Something massive, heavy, and impossibly fast was charging down the stairs in the dark directly toward me. I didn't think. Instinct took over. I threw the heavy iron poker directly into the darkness of the stairwell, grabbed Emma by the arm, scooped Luna up by the scruff of her neck, and lunged for the front door. I fumbled with the deadbolt in the dark as the frantic footsteps hit the bottom of the stairs, mere feet behind us. The air behind me suddenly felt freezing cold, and I smelled something atrocious, like stagnant swamp water and rotting copper. I ripped the door open, shoved Emma outside into the freezing rain, and slammed the heavy oak door shut behind us. As the door clicked shut, something massive slammed into the other side of the wood with the force of a car crash. The entire door frame buckled, and the wood splintered. But it held. We ran to my car in the mud and the pouring rain. I didn't care that we were in our pajamas. I didn't care about our belongings. I started the engine and drove away from Blackwood Lane at 70 miles an hour. We never went back. We stayed in a motel until the power returned to the county. Then we hired a local crew to pack our belongings. We instructed them not to be in the house after 4 p.m. We sold the property to the real estate firm a month later, taking a massive financial loss just to be rid of it. We now live in a crowded, noisy apartment building in downtown Chicago. I want neighbors. I want to hear traffic. I want to be surrounded by humanity. I don't know what that thing in the house was. I don't know if it was a demon, a ghost, or something much older that crawled out of the Oregon woods. But I know this. It is still there. Because last week, out of morbid curiosity, I looked up the fake address on a property listing website. The real estate firm is renting it out as a vacation home. And in the reviews, a family who stayed there last month left a terrifying 1-star rating. Beautiful property, but we left after one night. The house has awful acoustics. My husband kept hearing me call him into the basement, even though I was asleep in bed. Do not recommend. If you are ever looking for a quiet home in the Pacific Northwest, and you find a cheap, beautiful house surrounded